Tonight, developing news in Elmira, the call that brought a heavy police presence to a neighborhood and prompted warnings for people to stay away. Plus, tributes building online for a Waterloo woman following Monday's deadly crash at the expressway flyover in Kitchener. And the night the earth shook.
I was sitting like this, and all of a sudden my chair started going like this, and I thought, what the heck, what's going on?
A small earthquake centered near Aurelia.
At a depth of about 2 kilometers, and it was widely felt.
Felt as far away as Waterloo Region. Good evening. Developing news we've been watching in Elmira, where a person was taken into custody after an ordeal that brought a heavy police presence to a residential neighborhood for much of this afternoon. Let's get right over to CTV's Colton Weens live in the Timber Trail Road and South Parkwood area of Elmira. Colton, that is where earlier today people in the area were being asked to shelter in place.
Yeah, Tony, according to Waterloo Regional Police, they received a call around 12:15 this afternoon about a person barricaded in this area. When we arrived to the area, many of the streets connecting to this area were blocked by police cruisers. And much of the focus appeared to be on this street here, Timber Trail Road. Now, there was a heavy police presence in this area this afternoon with Waterloo Regional Police and OPP in the area, and a command center was set up at a nearby auto store. People in the area were asked to shelter in place, and police also asked parents and their children to detour around the area on their way home from school. But around 4 this afternoon, police announced a person had been arrested, though they did not provide any further information. After the arrest, many of the roads in the area reopened and officers were seen talking to residents on the street. Now, most of those officers have cleared the area, and police tell us they were not available for an interview this afternoon, but the shelter in place for this area in Elmira was lifted around 4:30. Tony.
Okay, Colton, thank you for that update. CTV's Colton Weens joining us live from Elmira with those details tonight. Well, tributes are building online for a Waterloo woman who is said to have died on her way to work on Monday. That's the morning when 2 vehicles plunged off the expressway in Kitchener. One of the crashes proving fatal. CTV's Jeff Pickle joining us now with more on this tonight. And Jeff, a big outpouring from the community. A big outpouring of support from the community, I should say.
Well, Tony, a GoFundMe page has been set up in memory of 38-year-old Win Nguyen, who passed away in a fatal crash on her way to work Monday morning. Social media posts about Nguyen describe her as a kind and loving person who is greatly missed. Today, a small memorial on Highway 8 in the place where the vehicle landed. According to the OPP, early Monday morning, a taxi crashed going over the side of Highway 8. No one was seriously injured. The road was closed for several hours to clean up. Then around 7:30 the same morning, another car launched over the snow embankment, pushed against the ramp of the barricade, landing on the vehicle's roof. This time the driver did not survive. According to the GoFundMe page, the victim is 38-year-old Win Nguyen. Social media profiles say she worked at Toyota. Many of the top donors on her GoFundMe come from Toyota employees. Yesterday, OPP said after the first crash was cleared, road conditions were good, so they reopened the highway after consulting the MTO.
This is certainly not the first time we've had vehicles ramp up onto snowbanks. Looking at all the circumstances, I think it's reasonable to have the highway moving and have the highway open because the roads are in good condition, the lanes themselves.
The crash is still under investigation, and they are looking into mechanical issues along with environmental and human factors. And a tragic situation, and many people still wondering how it could happen and if more could have been done to prevent it. Tony.
Lots of questions. Jeff, okay, thank you. CTV's Jeff Pickle live with us tonight. The region's water crisis will be front and center tonight at Regional Council. Councillors will be going over a list of recommendations meant to be first steps in fending off a future shortage, including a recommendation to hire a team of people immediately to get to work on the issue, along with possible repairs, new technology, more pumping stations, even the possibility of relaxing restrictions put in place decades ago on how much water is drawn from Wilmot. Council will also hear some public delegations speaking to the water crisis. Time for a first check on the weather. Let's head over to Ashley Bacon now for all the details. And if it's not the snow, it's the cold. That was the story last night. Boy, some really cold wind chills and now more squalls.
And, you know, we're not out of the woods yet, Tony. We're looking at another couple of days of really cold conditions. But the great news is the sun's out. So you dress appropriately and it's perfect for a morning stroll, or maybe, as you saw Leanne and I in the 5 o'clock show, go for an afternoon ski at Chicopee. Why not, right? Okay, but there is a lot to talk about. There is still some snow activity happening. Let's get right into our alerts board. Up in the southern Georgian Bay area, Wyerton, of course, you guys have had so much snow over the last few weeks, and it is continuing. Environment Canada extending their snow squall warning. 15 to 30 centimeters is expected. That 30 centimeters might actually see a little bit higher in some areas. And of course, as we know, this can cause reduced visibility. If you're out on the roads or you have to be out of your homes tonight, make sure you check with Ontario 511 before you head out. Right now in Kitchener-Waterloo, though, we're sitting at -12, which is a little bit colder than seasonal, feeling closer to the -20 range with wind chill. But as I said, Tony, we're going to have a few more days of some cold temperatures, but the weekend is really shaping up to look like a nice winter start. I guess it's not really the start. Midwinter weekend.
All right, sounds good. Well, it's the start of February on Sunday, so that's one thing.
True.
Ashley, thank you. We'll chat with you in a bit. And as Ash was noting, for many Canadians, this harsh winter has been defined by extreme weather. Lots of snowfall all over the country and more coming in the next several days. As CTV's Paul Hollingsworth tells us, experts say these severe storms are linked to climate change.
92-year-old Jean Heckman will not be denied her daily walk, even on slippery sidewalks.
It's nice to get out of the house, but I don't want to fall.
But Heckman's outings may soon be on hold because of more snow in the long-range forecast.
Well, you have to put up with it.
Retired Environment Canada meteorologist Jim Abraham studies the weather daily, sifting through scientific data.
When you see extreme events occurring, it's fascinating.
Abraham says recent severe winter storms impacting many areas of Canada are directly linked to the effects of climate change.
We're 1.5 degrees warmer on average around the globe. The globe now holds 10% more moisture on average.
Which means rainfall and snow amounts have become heavier than normal across all seasons.
There can be at least 10% more, if not even higher amounts, higher extremes in precipitation.
According to Abraham, the Arctic is warming more than 2 times faster than the equator, which affects the jet stream, causing extremes in weather patterns, like the one that dumped a lot of snow on southern Ontario.
When you're in a heat and drought pattern, it may be lasting longer because of climate change, and when you're in a cold, damp pattern, it tends to last longer, or the risk is that it lasts longer because of this meandering of the jet stream.
This severe weather has brought packed snow, a lot of it. When the warm weather returns in the spring, the snow will melt, run off, and be absorbed into the ground, which is good news for the areas that experienced extreme drought last summer. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
If you felt the ground shaking here in southern Ontario late last night, it was not your imagination. A magnitude 3.7 earthquake was centered over near Aurelia. And as CTV's Alexandra Hollick tells us, some people felt it right here in Waterloo Region.
Yeah, I was sitting like this, and all of a sudden my chair started going like this, and I thought, what the heck? What's going on?
Maureen LeBlanc says she was watching TV in her Kitchener apartment around 11 o'clock Tuesday night when she felt a sudden shake.
I thought, is there a ghost in here, you know? It was kind of weird.
But the apparent apparition turned out to be a magnitude 3.7 earthquake that struck just outside of Aurelia, nearly 200 kilometers away.
It's been felt all the way as east as Kingston, and then down through southern Ontario to Kitchener, Hamilton, St. Catharines, all the way up to London as well, and of course widely felt in Toronto.
You may have felt the earthquake last night without even realizing it. Experts say the 3.7 magnitude can be compared to a snowplow or truck passing through or a train rushing by.
We're well below the threshold, so we will not have any damage, though I'm sure a lot of people right in Orillia probably felt quite a strong shaking.
I felt a little rocking, swaying motion back and forth. It's very subtle, but I was like, what was that?
Lisa Van Beckham remembers the rumble all too well. She says she felt something similar before, living in Kitchener's Heritage Park neighborhood.
It pretty much felt exactly the same, just very subtle, shaking back and forth. It's a crazy experience, but it's actually pretty cool when you feel it.
Natural Resources Canada says earthquakes of any size in southern Ontario are rare.
The last one comparable in size, was near Owen Sound, and I think it was the year 2005, so quite a long time ago now.
And the cause isn't quite clear.
It's generally related to kind of regional stress fields and kind of crustal weaknesses in on the earth surface there.
And while all appears to be safe and sound, rattled residents are still trying to wrap their heads around what happened.
A little bit scary when you think about it.
We're still here, right?
Alexandra Hullick, CTV News, Kitchener.
The province is taking control of another school board and putting one more on notice. Education Minister Paul Calandra said today that the province is putting the Peel District School Board under supervision, intervening to stop what it calls mismanagement and disruption that is negatively impacting students and teachers. The minister is also warning the York Catholic District School Board that it could be next. The province also expressed concerns the Peel Board has been running deficits for 5 straight years. Peel's now been given 14 days to respond to the province's concerns, after which the minister will decide whether the supervision will continue. Next, to follow to a story CTV News first brought you last night about a child and 2 women attacked by a pair of dogs in Oshawa. Tonight, another woman's come forward saying those same dogs attacked her, and she's wondering why local officials haven't taken action. CTV's Janice Golding has more.
It's faint, but as you can see, I still have a scar, this line that comes right down here.
Janice Bell shows us a scar left behind after she was attacked by 2 dogs.
Out of the corner of my eye, I could see a dog charging at me. I realized very quickly that there was a second dog that was following that first dog, and they both jumped on me.
Belle says she was walking her own pet Coco on June 29th when 2 dogs came running.
They actually scratched me quite significantly. I had blood dripping down my leg.
Dogs this Oshawa woman says she recognized from a CTV News story.
Riley looks down and there's blood pouring from her face and all over her arms, and she just starts screaming.
Yesterday, we reported a 4-year-old girl and 2 women who live on Bell Street had been mauled on January 13th.
And all I can think is they're going to rip us apart. Like, we're both going to die.
Police investigated, and on January 20th, an Oshawa bylaw officer issued an order requiring the 2 American bulldogs be muzzled and leashed unless inside their owner's home. Not good enough, says Bell.
It makes me very angry, but I don't believe that these people should be allowed to have animals if they're not taking care of them.
For its part, the city of Oshawa says Bylaw Services is taking the reported incident very seriously and is following our investigative procedures. We currently have active enforcement in progress.
This is where they got me.
Meanwhile, Belle filed her own complaint with Oshawa Animal Services today. Still, she says she's feeling some measure of guilt.
Did not sleep well. I wish that I had been able to report it sooner. It could have prevented this little girl from being attacked and being traumatized.
And she's hoping if others in the community have stories like hers to share, they too will approach authorities to help keep the neighborhood safer. Janice Golding, CTV News.
Sign up online for the CTV Kitchener newsletter. Headlines right to your inbox each morning, the top stories, the latest forecast, and some must-see videos. You can sign up over at ctvnewskitchener.ca. If you're planning to sell a car on your own, we've got a story coming up that you'll want to see. CTV's consumer reporter Pat Foran will tell us about a scam that involves prospective buyers tampering with the vehicle.
I'm Kara Smapp, sounding the alarm on recycling collection in Guelph. The mayor speaks out after some residents say they waited for a week for collection. That story is just ahead.
Well, some flurries are expected through the night with no accumulation, but the big news is the cold. We're keeping an eye on just how cold it'll get throughout the next couple of days and when we'll get a break from it all, coming up in your full weather forecast.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We go to a dramatic scene unfolding.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVKitchener.ca, your home for news.
A year after a new company took over recycling in Guelph, the city's mayor says the service has to improve. Cam Guthrie posted a public email to Circular Materials, voicing frustration over collection delays and overall confusion. CTV's Karis Mapp spoke with the mayor and the company. And Karis, what did they have to say?
Well, Tony, Mayor Guthrie said he's hopeful things will improve. Guthrie, officials with Circular Materials and their contracted company Waste Management had a meeting about the concerns just hours ago. The collection company promising there will be better reliability and communication moving forward. It was this email that was written and publicly posted by Guelph Mayor Cam Guthrie that started the bigger conversation about recycling collection in his city. The email was written on behalf of Guelph residents, voicing the frustration and dissatisfaction he had heard about the service.
There was about 500 complaints last year, but what we've seen just for January so far was in the 70-80 complaint range just for January.
While residents say they tried to be patient, some were waiting an entire week before the recycling was picked up.
A lot of it had to do with missed pickup times, inconsistent routes, customers, our citizens not knowing when missed recycling bin would be picked up.
Many people are still getting used to the new recycling program, with the provincial government recently relieving municipalities of the duty. The mandate saw Circular Materials take over the responsibility, but they've been in charge of recycling in the city of Guelph for more than a year already.
The city of Guelph was onboarded actually on January 1st, 2025. And so since that transition, we've been working and continue to work with our service provider, Waste Management, to deliver consistent, reliable collection service to residents.
Despite the delays, Mayor Guthrie said he's still on board with the change that aims to decrease the number of items diverted from the landfill and keep more money in taxpayers' pockets.
It's in the $1.5 to $2 million range is approximately some of the savings that can try to be realized with the full transition once it's done.
City of Guelph officials had a meeting Wednesday afternoon with Waste Management and Circular Materials, with the collection company citing winter woes as the reason for many of the current delays.
It could be just, roads aren't cleared. It could be that temperatures get so low that the trucks have difficulty getting out to do their collection.
Now everyone involved say they plan to increase communication and all work towards their shared objective.
We want to see residents' concerns and, issues like missed collections get addressed in the most expedient fashion possible.
The more that they can communicate about the changes or communicate when, the odd time something isn't getting picked up, the more they can proactively communicate, I think will be a big step in the right direction about what's going to occur.
Alan Langdon added that a big part of resolution is making people aware of where they can get updated information. With the winter weather sticking around, he said there's bound to be delays, but residents can head to the website circularmaterials.com/Guelph for any service alerts, as well as additional information about what can now be recycled. Tony.
Karis Mapp reporting. Karis, thank you for that. And a warning tonight for those who are selling a used car on their own. There's a new scam involving prospective buyers tampering with your vehicle to make you think it has serious problems and agreeing to lower the price. A couple from Paris is speaking out after they say they were victims of such a ploy. CTV's Pat Foran explains.
I feel violated. Mark Rafi and Carol Crawford of Paris, Ontario were selling their 2016 Hyundai Santa Fe. They listed it for $7,000 on Facebook Marketplace. Two people came at night to see the vehicle. One man wanted to inspect the trunk. And he was looking underneath the mats and looking for the spare tire and had me completely occupied. So I was not aware of what the other person was doing, who had gone around to the car, opened up the hood. It's believed after opening the hood, the man sprayed oil throughout the engine compartment. When the potential buyer started to go for a test drive, he stopped and backed into the driveway.
The other gentleman who was hanging around the driveway squatted down and sprayed or inserted something liquid into the tailpipe.
After a short drive, they returned, and smoke was pouring off the engine and out of the exhaust.
There's all this white smoke coming out, and the other guy who was in the driveway comes running around and says, look, he says, there's oil everywhere.
Rafi says the two men told him the engine had blown and the car was worthless.
It was like, oh my gosh, something must have blown because there's oil everywhere.
He was asking $7,000 for the SUV, but was convinced to take $1,000 just to get rid of it. The two men paid in cash, took an extra set of tires, and left. Rafi told his wife what happened. That's when they checked their security video.
We saw everything. I said, we've been scammed. I said, this is a scam.
This is a case of seller beware.
An auto fraud investigator says criminals will put oil on the engine and in the tailpipe to make the car smoke and appear to have serious mechanical problems.
They really presented a convincing story to the owner that his car has blown the engine.
Rafi is upset he was scammed out of $6,000 and that he trusted the two men.
To be taken like this, I don't know how somebody sleeps at night after doing this.
CTV's consumer reporter Pat Foran with that report. In health news, researchers in London, Ontario are using so-called poop pills to help improve results for advanced cancer patients. CTV health reporter Pauline Chan has those details.
They call it fecal microbiota transplants, or FMT, also commonly known as poop pills.
It was the first time in the world anybody actually used healthy donor FMT in kidney cancer patients.
Blue capsules containing the diverse gut bacteria of healthy donors.
On average, we have to screen 43 people to get a person who passes the screen.
Saman Maleki says the gut is actually the largest immune organ in the body.
The drugs that we are giving kidney cancer patients are immunotherapy drugs. These drugs work through activating the immune system.
But there are side effects.
They can activate an immune response against the lining of our gut, and the patients can experience severe diarrhea or colitis. And sometimes that can be actually life-threatening.
Researchers at London Health Sciences combined FMT with immunotherapy for 20 patients with stage 4 kidney cancer, and they found that not only did response to the immunotherapy improve, those potentially life-threatening side effects were almost gone.
So we are dealing with a combination treatment that is safe. It can improve response, but also it can reduce toxicity and improve your quality of life as a patient.
Not only did it help kidney cancer patients, a second study out of Montreal looked at other cancers.
From the lung cancer study, we showed that the response rate to immunotherapy went from about 40% to 80%. And in melanoma, it went from about 55% to 75%.
FMT pioneer Dr. Mike Silverman says it's not just one type of gut bacteria needed, but a whole ecosystem. And they can even personalize the poop pills.
For patients who are on certain types of cancer drugs and other people who donate for people who are on different drugs. So it's personalized medicine.
And Dr. Silverman says if you're in the London area,
let us know that they might be interested in being a poop donor, because we could always use more.
More studies will be done involving earlier stage kidney cancer, as well as lung, skin, and pancreatic cancers. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Live look toward downtown Kitchener from our tower camera. And as Ashley was mentioning earlier, at least we've had periods this week where we've seen a peak of the sunshine. But boy, oh boy, it's been cold, and those squalls off Lake Huron, relentless. An updated look at the outlook in just a few minutes. Also ahead, Waterloo Region's airport gets the ultimate endorsement for accessibility, one that's connected to the man in motion himself, Rick Hansen. CTV's Spencer Turcott will show us why. And trying to get on the same page, Canada's premiers huddle to talk strategy ahead of talks to renegotiate the Canada-US-Mexico trade deal. Well, Ashley, just looking at the latest maps from Environment Canada,
Yes.
and they indicate that, I mean, I don't think we've seen a day since December where
There hasn't been any.
Southern Ontario has been clear of any warnings.
I know, and as we'll get to in a bit, Tony, that area just off of Lake Huron in southern Georgian Bay has just been nonstop, basically for 2 weeks now, since the orange blizzard warning almost 2 weeks ago, where they received upwards of 70 centimeters.
Well, let's start that countdown. What is it? 50 days till spring?
I think we're about 51 days now
like
to
that?
spring, so we're getting there. Yes. Let's take a look outside this hour here in Kitchener, Waterloo. You can see there it is a clear night. Now we are expecting a little bit of flurry activity overnight, but no real accumulation. But you might, if you are out, see some blowing snow, and of course that causes some visibility issues on the roads here and there, but we're not expecting a lot of it, which is great news. However, what we are expecting is continued very, very cold conditions. So if you are headed out this evening, I would strongly recommend dressing the part. And okay, now this is the warning that Tony and I were just talking about. It has now still been extended another day up near southern Georgian Bay, in Wyerton, Tobermory, Lions Head. You could see upwards of 30 centimeters of snow. Accumulations may even exceed that in some areas. Of course, as I mentioned, reduced visibility, and this is now continuing through to Thursday. So that system just is plaguing the area. And let's talk about it visually. Here it is up now towards Wyerton. You can see that dark band of purple. That's going to continue to just sort of circulate here in Kitchener-Waterloo. We're going to see some clearing skies, but just north of us, of course, we're going to get those flurries continuing through to Friday. On and off, but by Friday morning, look at that. There's nothing over the region, so we might get some daylight. We'll see daylight, but we might get some sunshine rather. Looking at temperatures across the country, starting on the west coast, 6 degrees in Prince George and Vancouver. Very nice conditions there. Fort McMurray, minus 12. Looking at Saskatoon, Saskatchewan rather, in Saskatoon, it's minus 14. Thompson, minus 18. So very cold conditions felt right across the country, closer to home in Ontario and Quebec. We're looking at minus 16 in our nation's capital, minus 18 in Quebec City. On the East Coast, St. John's is already sitting at minus 7. Of course, the sun has set it there already. And here in Kitchener-Waterloo, we're at minus 12. But that does feel much colder with the wind chill. Minus 20 is what we're feeling this hour. Conditions continuing to go down overnight. Minus 15 is our expected low, and tomorrow conditions not improving much better. Minus 13 is our expected high. So it is still going to be very cold tomorrow, but the sun is going to make an appearance. Now the great news, talking about that sun setting now at 5:28 p.m. Tony, so we're getting a little bit more daylight, which is great news. Back in 2022, it was minus 25.5 overnight. So by comparison, not too bad. Okay, our 7-day forecast, looking at Waterloo Region to start. Check out all that sunshine in the forecast here. Fantastic news. You can, dress up. Dress lots for the weather, but overnight conditions Thursday and Friday we're keeping an eye on because it is going to be a cold one. Lambton, Kent, Essex, similar there. Very cold conditions Thursday night, but sunny conditions throughout the remainder of the week. And lastly, in southern Georgian Bay, where you've had all of this snow, Tony, look, they're going to see some sun finally. So hopefully those flurries subside a little bit before Friday and we get that sun there. Okay, let's take a look at our Weather Watcher photo for today, sent in from Wes, who is a dam operator at Conestoga Dam. He took this picture on Saturday, which shows a beautiful sundog in the distance. Wes, thank you for sharing. That is a stunning photo.
And you see a lot of sunrises. I see a lot of sunsets, but I mean, you look at that one, it could be either, because I don't know exactly what direction it was taken in.
That's a fair point, nor do I. So, but either way, a beautiful shot.
Well, it's nice to appreciate some beauty with a little bit of sun in a harsh winter, isn't it?
Just keep the layers going,
Yes, dress the part, like you said. You got it. Thanks, Ash.
Thank you.
Well, Canada's premiers are huddling in the nation's capital for 2 days of talks ahead of high-stakes trade negotiations with the Trump administration. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver takes us through the plans so far.
It's going to be an exciting couple days.
The gathering of Canada's 13 premiers, a sign of solidarity, as trade tensions thrust Canada-U.S. relations into a new, more unpredictable chapter.
We talk about Canada true, north, strong, and free. Let us not allow other people to dictate to us how we govern.
We know President Trump's rules. There are no rules with him. So we need to focus on what we can do
The premiers, even those who sometimes don't get along, sending a message of Team Canada unity.
We don't always agree on everything, but I think we've got a really solid base to start on.
The meeting comes days after the U.S. president threatened massive tariffs on Canadian imports, following the Prime Minister's speech in Davos declaring the old rules-based order dead.
If we are going to determine our destiny and become that leader in that middle power space, it is going to take us making those tough decisions, having those discussions like we'll have today on how we are going to allow that investment to flow, allow those industries that are creating wealth to expand.
One of the major topics on the agenda, provincial and territorial priorities for the upcoming CUSMA negotiations.
In any negotiation, there's on both sides, there's some people that are kind of out front with more bluster. We're certainly seeing that, particularly out of the United States right now, but I'm hopeful that below that, there are real and significant discussions happening and taking place, and I'm looking forward to kind of hearing from the Prime Minister on the status of those.
Discussions, the Prime Minister said today, are going well.
Relations are good. We have good conversations, good back and forth. There's a lot of work to be done for the review of CUSMA.
But that apparent optimism was met today by a threat from the U.S. administration.
I would not pick a fight going into USMCA to score some cheap political points. Either you are working for your own political career or you're working for the Canadian people.
Tonight, the premiers will sit down with the Prime Minister for a working dinner. The main meetings will take place all day tomorrow. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
The Bank of Canada holds the line on interest rates again, but admits the future is just too uncertain for a forecast. Coming up, the latest take on where the economy's heading. In its first decision of the year, the Bank of Canada held its key interest rate steady today, but the bank also expressed some uncertainty about the economic road ahead. Let's join CTV's Scott Hurst in our national newsroom now for more.
Uncertainty over U.S. trade policy and a renewed threat of tariffs continue to loom large over decisions by Canada's central bank. Firstly, the bank is keeping its benchmark interest rate steady at 2.25%. This was widely anticipated by economists, with the central bank saying economic output has remained largely in line with its recent projections despite U.S. tariffs.
There wasn't really a compelling reason either way, especially when you take into account that inflation, it seems kind of anchored in the Bank of Canada's target range right now.
But really, it is our relationship with the U.S. that continues to fuel a whole lot of uncertainty. According to the Bank of Canada, the economy is adjusting to the trade shock from our southern neighbors so far, and it is expecting the economy to grow modestly in the near term. However, U.S. trade restrictions, tariffs, and questions about the outcome of the upcoming review of the North American Free Trade Pact, known as CUSMA, continue to disrupt growth north of the border and create havoc in trying to predict the future impact on Canadians.
Uncertainty around our forecast is heightened. The range of possible outcomes is wider than usual. U.S. trade policy remains unpredictable, and geopolitical risks are elevated.
According to a new survey out today from the Angus Reid Institute, Canadians as a whole, too, appear on edge with what's coming out of the White House. Anxiety about the Canada-U.S. relationship has 4 in 5 respondents worried about the year ahead. So amidst all the trade uncertainty and a hazy outlook for the Canadian economy, many eyes will now turn to the Bank of Canada's next interest rate announcement coming in mid-March. Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
Meta, the social media giant that owns Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, is being courted by Ottawa to reinstate news on its platforms as part of trade negotiations with the U.S. CTV's Mike LeCouture has the backstory and what it could mean for local news.
Like many local newspaper editors in Canada, Charlie Senak's job got a lot harder when Meta stopped allowing news on platforms like Facebook and Instagram.
I hear it from our readers, too, who are incredibly frustrated that they can't find us on Facebook. It was a very quick and easy way for them to go and get their content that they want.
The Online News Act and Online Streaming Act have been called irritants by the Trump administration in trade discussions. Both laws compel U.S. tech giants to financially support Canadian TV, film, and music sectors. Instead of paying Canadian media companies for carrying their content, all Meta platforms blocked Canadian news on sites like Facebook and Instagram in 2023. Now, Meta wouldn't provide a comment about renewed talks, but did point to these comments in October.
News publishers place their content on our platforms because they get increased distribution, and then they can monetize the clicks that they receive as a result of that distribution.
Kern added that Meta was hopeful news could return to their platform. The Identity and Culture Minister says talks are preliminary.
Canada's door has always been open to have those discussions. We stand by the value of the two acts that make sure that platforms are doing their jobs and making sure people are getting fair dealings.
But even that is welcome news for CNAC.
If this does happen and we can post on Meta again, I think we'll be at a point where we can really start growing in even more ways than we already have, and with the added advantage of all the work that we've already put into it.
Last year, the Canadian government removed the digital services tax just to restart talks with the U.S. But it's unclear how far it's willing to bend with the online news and streaming acts. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
And we'll recap our top stories now. Leanne Evans in studio with us as we watch that developing news out of Elmira, Leanne, where one person was taken into custody after an incident in a neighborhood.
Right, Tony. So it happened after police were called to the area of Timber Trail Road and South Parkwood for reports of a barricaded person. This all happened around the noon hour. People on neighboring streets were being asked to shelter in place. That order has since been lifted. There was a large police presence in the area for much of the afternoon, and around 4 o'clock today, police announced a person had been arrested, though they did not provide any further information. Tributes are building online for a Waterloo woman who is said to have died on her way to work Monday. That's the morning 2 vehicles plunged off the expressway in Kitchener, one of the crashes proving fatal. A widely shared GoFundMe has been set up to support the family of Wynne Nguyen of Waterloo. The post describes a beloved daughter, sister, and friend who passed while on her way to work. A small memorial has been set up at the site of the crash.
And a good update on a story next, Leanne, that our digital teams have been working on, and that is that a pair of dogs who were with the Guelph Humane Society have found their happy tails. We've got that story up online tonight.
Yes, we love a good happy tail story from our humane societies as well. Vladdy and Kirk had parovirus when they came into the Humane Society back in October. Well, the dogs received immediate medical attention, and now they have found their forever homes. You can read more about the story on our website. We've also got links there. You can click to kind of watch the video of the dogs meeting their new pup parents as well. CTVNewsKitchener.ca. The full story is there on our website, Tony.
We love updates like that because I remember bringing people the story when that happened. I love that their names are Vladdy and Kirk as well.
Yes, this was all around the World Series time.
Very cool. Thanks, Leanne.
Thank you.
Accessible travel's being celebrated over at the Region of Waterloo International Airport. YKF earned a top rating from the Rick Hansen Foundation for its commitment to helping anyone living with disabilities travel with ease. CTV's Spencer Turcott takes a look at the unique features.
An alarm and flashing lights signal when baggage belts begin to move. Just one of many accessible safety features for Region of Waterloo International Airport travelers, particularly ones with disabilities.
We've worked really hard to ensure a seamless transition for everyone who uses our terminal building.
That effort has earned YKF a gold certification rating from the Rick Hansen Foundation, the highest rating of its kind. It acknowledges sites of all kinds that demonstrate an exceptional commitment to accessibility.
Only one of 4 airports in the country that have achieved that level.
And they're only the second to do so in Ontario, Toronto Pearson being the other. Here at the regional airport, there are accessible washrooms with adult change tables, curbside assistance, hearing loops at service desks so people with hearing aids can understand agents, braille signage, and pet relief areas for service animals. All examples of why Regional Councillor Chantal Huning, who lives with a disability, says she is proud to live here.
It's a symbol of equity between people with disabilities and people without disabilities.
She notes that any time she has traveled through YKF, staff have been willing to assist from the moment she arrives, adding the Air Canada shuttle is also accessible.
It looks like a bus with stairs, so people often miss that there is a lift on it, and you only need to tell them in advance that you will be bringing your mobility device.
Huning says this gold rating doesn't mean the work is done, and she continues to offer suggestions as a regional councillor for improvements.
There are folks with invisible disabilities who may face challenges that are not as visible or not as specific to physical barriers. And so we're working on getting the sunflower campaign into the airport, which symbolizes that someone identified with the symbol of a sunflower may need additional supports.
Airport staff say they want to keep making accessible advancements, assuring travelers of all abilities the sky is the limit. Spencer Turcotte, CTV News, Breslau.
2 veteran Canadian athletes honored. Coming up later on CTV News, we now know who will be carrying the flag and representing Team Canada at the start of the Italy Games. It started as a hobby and a way to stay healthy, but for a group of mall walkers in Scarborough's Malvern neighborhood, it's turned into a connection that goes far beyond the walls of the shopping center. CTV's Corey Baird reports.
It's 9 a.m. And this group of grandmas has burned more calories than most of us will in a week.
Look it out!
Meet the Malvern Mall Walkers. 3 times a week, they turn this food court into a fitness studio. 2 decades and counting, still pushing their limits.
Everybody's so upbeat. Everybody's happy to come out. It's just a unique group of people, and we gel.
If you want to have an improved quality of life as you age, you have to stay active. That's a no-brainer. And this group, well, they've got it figured out. But it's what they're doing outside of these sessions that speaks to a quality of a whole different kind. They've traveled together from Sault Ste. Marie to Niagara Falls and a few casinos along the way too, supporting one another through life's highs and life's lows.
This is my eye that was done last Wednesday.
They've been to funerals, too many to count, always together in uniform, a mall walker's honor guard.
We always call each other to find out, are you okay? Do you need anything?
Time doesn't slow down, so why should they? Many here are well into their 80s, and it's no stretch to say these workouts have improved their longevity.
I'm a diabetic for 41 years, and now I'm a pre-diabetic.
And then there's Zelda Drummond.
2010, I had a stroke. I just tried to keep myself moving.
Not just trying, succeeding. Here there's no fear of failure. Showing up, that's the victory.
If you can be carefree, even for a few minutes, that's a elixir of life.
Corey Baird, CTV News, Scarborough.
Well, fantastic story about community, but I wanted to also throw in an observation. What a throwback to a typical mall food court. Scarborough's very own Ashley Bacon's probably been in the Malvern Mall a time or two.
Oh, Tony, it looks exactly how I remember it. Last time I was in that mall was probably about 25 years ago, and it's funny, I've had the pleasure of going all over the world, but it just takes a little mall walk to bring you right back home. And you know what else is going to be a good day for a mall walk? Tomorrow, because it's going to be cold. Stay with us. I'll have more on just how cold we're waking up to after this. Well, it's a perfect night to stay in and watch E-Talk at 7, followed by Shifting Gears, then The Masked Singer, then Fear Factor. House of Fear is at 9, followed by Shark Tank at 10.
Tonight, accused of profiting off of people's grief.
It had stripped the personality of it, all the character.
A family's warning on how to protect against what's being called obituary piracy. Later on CTV National News and watch on Crave.
Let's join Leanne for a look at a story our team's working on for later tonight. Leanne?
And Tony, the region's water crisis will be front and center tonight at Regional Council. Councillors will be going over a list of recommendations meant to be first steps in fending off a future shortage, including hiring a team of people immediately to get to work on the issue. Council also set to hear some public delegations. That meeting getting underway in just a few minutes' time. Tony.
Okay, and we'll be keeping an eye on it. Leanne, thank you so much. And Ash will be keeping an eye on the temperature, the sky, the streets, the sidewalks, everything.
A little little bit of everything as we have been experiencing all winter long, Tony, but we are going to wake up to another cold day. We're going to feel closer to -25, although at 6 a.m. we're looking at -16, and then a mixture of sun and cloud for pretty much the remainder of the day. But as I said, that sun can be deceiving. It will still be very cold. Make sure if you are headed out to dress appropriately.
Well, now something we're getting very, very close to. We now know who Canada's flag bearers are for the opening ceremonies of this year's Winter Olympics.
Both of these athletes are competing in their 4th games, and this was the moment they got the news.
Salut Mix! Salut Henrik!
Ça va bien?
Oui, ça va bien, et toi?
Ouais, super.
J'ai quelque chose d'important à te dire.
Ouais?
You have been selected as the flag bearer for the 2026 Milano Cortina Games.
Wow, my hands are like shaking.
So exciting.
It's super cool.
Thank you. Are you shocked right now?
I mean, yeah, I got chosen as really kind of unbelievable, but very special, and I hope that I can kind of lead the team in well and do a good job.
Olympic champions Mikkel Kingsbury and Marielle Thompson have been selected for the honor. They'll be carrying the maple leaf at the opening ceremony February the 6th. Kingsbury is a 3-time Olympic medalist in moguls. The Quebec native was the first male moguls skier to win 3 Olympic medals.
Wow, and Thompson is from Whistler, BC. She also had an impressive career, winning gold in her Olympic debut in 2014 and adding a silver in 2022. Gosh, what a moment to capture that.
For sure. I almost forgot they were happening so soon.
I know. We're just almost a little over a week away.
Yeah, it's technically next week for that opening ceremony.
I know, but that means spring is getting closer.
You're right. That's what's on the other side. So bring on the Olympics. That's our time. Thanks for watching. We'll see you at 11:30. Have a good night.